This is the pronunciation lesson plan for my ESL students for the capstone project. The objectives in this lesson are going to be that the students will use language skills to discover the differences in the tone, the intonation, and minimal pairs of words. Students will be expected to speak in front of the class sometimes and participate in class discussions. So for one warm-up, we will do something called read and rhyme, which we'll pass around a bag filled with words, word recognition words, and when the bag gets to the student, they'll pull out a card and pronounce it out loud. The rest of the class will indicate if they've read it correctly or not by raising their hand if they haven't read it correctly. Once they name the word correctly, they must name another word that rhymes with it, and then we'll go through the entire class like that with warm-ups. And it tends to be kind of a silly game, but they're also learning something. The ice is being broken, and hopefully it'll raise their confidence knowing that everybody's pretty much in the same boat as they are when it comes to learning English. For the instruct and model portion, we're going to do a conversation about minimal pairs. So I'm going to define minimal pairs, which is, the definition is pairs of words that have one phonemic change between them, like let, L-E-T, and lit, L-I-T. So that's how I'm going to introduce the idea to the students. We're going to be a little bit technical with the definition and the discussion. And then we're going to practice their comprehension skills by using a handout of a list of minimal pairs. And once the students are comfortable with the sounds, they're going to read the examples, and using one word of the pair provided, I'm going to ask the students to identify which word of each pair was used. So hopefully it won't be too confusing. Other students will be able to discuss if we're right, if we're wrong, if the students are doing it correctly or incorrectly. So this is another way that the ice can be broken. But minimal pairs are really important to learn. So we're going to spend a huge chunk of time on them, and they can be very confusing. So that's why we need to go slow. For guided practice, we're going to do something called listen and repeat words. So this is all about where the stress is in the list of words that I'll be saying to the class. For example, we'll do a list where the stress is at the beginning of the word: lemon, entree, chicken, mushrooms. Stress is at the end of the word: tonight, parade, Chinese, exchange, things like that. I mean, it'll be a longer list than that, but that's just an example. So then we'll listen and repeat, and they're going to have to figure out where the stress is at the beginning or the end. So these are words like dessert, degrees, New York, river, July, airport, things like that. So they're going to have to really listen, use their listening skills, and figure out where the stress is on each word. And then again, listen and repeat sentences. Where's the stress? I've never been to France. My computer's crashed. I can't send an email. I've been scuba diving. So which word in these sentences are stressed? And like I said, they're going to have a lot more of a list, a bigger list. And a lot of that is going to be some homework for them. A lot of that is going to be group work, and a lot of it is going to be between me and them. I'll be standing up and asking them as a class where the stress is on these words and these sentences. So for independent practice, I'm going to do some homework. They're going to do some homework, rather. I'll hand them out selections of stories, and they're going to have to highlight all the minimal pairs that they can find. And then I'll define all of the different words. So hopefully this will be sticking in their brain more and more, even though it's quite confusing sometimes. This exercise will get them to remember. They will do this once on their own, and then they're going to choose a partner, and they're going to do it all over again. For the assessment portion, they'll be graded on everything, either pass, fail, or actual grades. They'll be quizzed on a list of vocab words once a week. They're going to come up to my desk, and it'll be an oral quiz, and they're going to say the words and say where the stress of the word would be. And if they get it correct, then they get the quiz correct. They'll also have group work and tests throughout the semester that they'll be graded on. But the big chunk of their grade is the vocab word quizzes every week up at my desk. So that's my pronunciation lesson plan. Thank you for listening.